Joining us on the programme now, live from London, is Bill Oddie. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
This is a real honour for me, A, because I find you impossibly interesting. You're brilliant.
Well, I never knew you cared. It's lovely, I said.
You've just got it. And in terms of animals, you love them and you care so much. Is it hard for you to even understand how somebody is as cruel as the examples I've just described?
Yes, actually, you're right. I think I would say that. It's hard to understand that, but equally it's hard to understand the savagery with which one human being can treat another human being, in terms of whether it's physically or verbally or whatever, So in general, I have a lot of trouble figuring out why people would do a lot of the things they do. But you're right.
It does seem like right now there's a lot more cases in the press. Is this because people are struggling financially and can't afford to take care of their pets?
I think, to be honest, it's as much as comment on the press as anything else. The recent example I would think of was the fox in North London that got into the house and scratched or possibly bit, we're not absolutely certain, those two babies. And they kept that going in more than one newspaper for something like 2 weeks. And the emotive swell against urban foxes that it whipped up was massive, and this was kept going by the press, and it's very subtle, because every day there would be a picture of a fox, perfectly normal fox, looking okay, looking around a corner, and underneath it would say, fox lurking by the house, or vicious fox, or whatever, all this emotive stuff. And then the next thing we knew, there was a movement to bring in a cull of urban foxes. The media can whip things up all too easily, and of course it's that old thing, isn't it, that there's always a better story in something that involves a bit of violence or injury than man pats dog.
Are you a believer that in terms of animal cruelty, if you do something to a dog, it should be treated as seriously as if you did it to a human?
Wow, that's a huge question. I suppose if I were absolutely honest, I would have to admit that, let's say you did commit some awful physical crime against a human being, then that you would expect to be punished even more, put it that way, I guess. But I'd certainly all in favour of some sort of, is punishment the right word, retribution, for willful acts of cruelty like that. But in a funny sort of way, it's not those that we're talking about. This one kind movement that I'm involved with here, really, it covers animals in all levels. It's not just pets. I know you were talking to the RSPCA and the lady with the animal rescue organisation, weren't you, just before? I only heard a little bit, unfortunately, but obviously that homes in mainly on pets. But I'm talking wildlife, I'm talking farm animals. It's an attitude. It's almost a philosophy. It's almost a way of life that one has respect for all living things. I'm not being religious about it or anything like that, but many ancient civilization, of course, it was absolutely integral to ancient people with very limited resources. They knew they would have to hunt animals, for example, to eat, but they also worshipped the same animals, because and I think words like respect are quite high on the list, and I extend that personally all the way to spiders and bees and wasps and all those things that some people hate. And unfortunately, a lot of adults pass on to their kids as well.
I know there's a big debate in New York right now. They've got a huge problem with bed bugs. I don't know whether you've heard about this. Does it go as far as that we should even worry about killing bed bugs?
Oh, gosh. No, I don't think I would say that. If there is a situation where one creature is causing a problem, not just in terms of, it's a bit of a nuisance, but is actually causing some sort of disease or harm or whatever, there have to be circumstances. Tough though it is to say it, well, it's quite easy probably to kill a bed bug and you don't feel too bad about it. But I'm afraid even animals or birds that you would be quite shocked about have to be controlled in some circumstances. When you with that pet thing, I talked to a couple of pest control people. It's with the pest control people. And first of all, I'm thinking, oh my God, pest control, this is an evil person. He's going to come out, where's your pets? I'm going to control them. And in fact, he was a delightful guy I spoke to who was a great animal lover, and we talked at some length about what is viewed as a pest. Some animals are viewed as a pest. When does it become a pest? When is there a reason or a need to control it? And it also happens in conservation. When you get a nature reserve where a rogue fox or crows or something like that, these things happen. So I'm not saying...
We can't get into the philosophy, though, of double standard where just because they're cute we don't treat them badly. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. That is a bit too easy to do, yes, yeah. But it doesn't stop people mistreating them. I've been quoting a couple of times this morning the example I had locally on the lake on Hampstead Heath, where I live very close to, and families take their little children to feed the ducks, and they throw stuff down, and you get the ducks come waddling up, and you got the moorhens and the coot and a bunch of pigeons. And I've many, many times seen a toddler kicking at the birds or throwing stones at the birds. Again, I had to stop a kid throwing stones at the swans the other day, and it was just a game. But there were parents there, or somebody was there. There's some adult there, and they
That's
didn't
the problem.
say anything.
There's too many stupid people around. That's the trouble in this world, isn't there, Bill?
Well, you said that, not me.
Yeah, listen, I just want to talk to you in our remaining 2 minutes, because one thing I need to say, A, I love you. I need you to know that. Come back to Springwatch or something like that. We need you, because you're too interesting. I know it's a bit boring without you.
Oh, don't. I can't. My lips are sealed. It's not down to me, it's down to the BBC. Things kind of went a bit pear-shaped a year or so ago.
Are you okay now, by the way?
I'm fine, actually.
Good.
Thank you for asking. I'm absolutely fine, and it's a very complex list of events and so on and so forth. And yes, of course, I'd be silly to say that I don't miss doing Spring Watch and Autumn Watch. Of course I do,
People have great affection towards you, and they love you very much, and you need to know that.
Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate that.
I know you'd said in the papers last week that the BBC didn't particularly look after you very well. Was that taken out of context?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. If you read Victoria Wood's article a couple of weeks before that, I think I'd go along with some of that stuff. I think you sometimes do feel a bit unappreciated, and maybe there are people at the top who don't quite appreciate how much you put into things over the years, and it's big business. It becomes business. And a number of people have said to me over the last year, well, that's what it's like in big corporations, not what it's like at the BBC or anywhere else. That's what it's like in general at big corporations. You can be spat out as easily as you can be taken on.
That makes me very sad. I do hope you make it back on our screens very soon, because we love to watch you, and your passion and dedication is second to none. Bill, thank you for coming on the programme.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you.